Evening, neighbor. Evening. It's your boy Trini Trent. Here it is now. I have a little story to tell you. A little Christmas story. So go and gather the whole family, all the children, the nene, probably even call the outside woman, give her a little shout out, or the outside man. Get everybody around the Christmas tree, socially distance, put on their mask, tell them to wash their hands before they sit down, and get ready for a nice little story. Now, if you're ready, take down the Christmas tree. Just find a plant, throw some glitter on it, and make believe. You understand? Because I really want to tell you this tale about my favorite Christmas song. Now, I love Christmas music. It's one of my favorite genres because it brings us all together at this very special time of the year. But there's one song in particular that stands out head and shoulders above all the rest. And that's because for me, it always makes me feel at home. I'm not talking about Donny Hathaway This Christmas and the 150,000 covers of it. Because that song at this point, we have to give that a little break. And I'm not talking about a Mariah Carey song. I know that is very shocking for everybody. I am talking about Marcia Miranda's Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham, which I will link below in the description so that you could go and listen to the song and then come back and finish this video now. Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham, which is a local hit here in Trinidad and Tobago that came out in 1992. Now, I really love this song and I also really love the video. As a matter of fact, it's a video that I already came to talk to you about today. When I was a little boy, I used to spend almost every holiday break, every school break by Granny house. So, when Christmas time came around and school would close off here in Trinidad and Tobago, school would close off in the second week of December and then open back right after New Year's. That dreaded reopening when you realize, oh, I have to actually go back to school. When we would break off, I would spend my time by my granny house. And me and Granny and I, we had our little tradition of taking all these songs that we would hear on the radio and rewording them, all the Christmas songs. And for some reason, we always used to make them about farts. Here now, Granny, we used to have rare kicks. Granny! We had a lot of fun in the kitchen. Granny would be cooking and cleaning, and we'd be singing songs while Dateline going on the back with Alice and Hennessy, and Granny making bread. And we having the most amount of fun in that kitchen. But there was one song that we particularly loved, and we never used to change the lyrics at all because we loved it just as it was. And that was Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham by Marcia Miranda. But we really particularly loved that video because it was so funny. We would stop everything and just watch it together and laugh. But what made that video for Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham really speak to me is that it included a drag queen. It was the most random thing, and it was the first time I had actually ever seen a drag queen on television or in life, period. So I remember sitting and watching this video and being amazed by what I was seeing on screen. A man dressed in a dress. Well, let me just be clear about this. I'm assuming it was a man dressed in a dress. Next thing I know, it is somebody's mother who had a weight problem. And she was a little strong and strapping. And I'm talking about somebody's mother. Please forgive me. And I'm hoping it is not a transgender individual that I am misgendering right now. But to my perception, as far as I know, it was a man in drag. And I remembered watching this video and just being amazed by what I was seeing on the screen. So let me explain the storyline of the video from Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham. You see, the video starts off where you just see Marcia Miranda. She lying down in her house, she relaxing, and it was early in the morning before dawn. And all of a sudden, she started hear this tapping on the window. And when she get up and look, it's neighbor Mildred. Now, you can't say Mildred, you have to say Mildred. You have to put the extra Trinidad twang on this. It's the neighbor Mildred knocking on the glass with she big 90s earrings and she real house dresser and the way got everything at she basket. And she knocking on the door. And it's actually a man dressed in drag because he's trying to get into the house early for a party. But specifically, he was trying to get the free ham. So the type of party that Mildred had come for was a parang party. He had come to parang the house. Now, the thing about it is here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have something called parang. Now, parang could actually be to parang, you actually verbing, or you have parang the noun. To parang means to go during Christmas time, the holiday season. You go house to house playing music, which is typically parang music, that's noun. You play the music, you sing and perform, and the group of people who do this, they're not called serenaders. Well, in basic twang, you could call them serenaders, but often they're called paranderos, and they perform parang music in exchange for food and alcohol. Now, this is rooted in Venezuelan culture because Trinidad and Venezuela are very close geographically, and we tend to merge and blur the lines sometimes with the different cultures, especially now with this large influx of Venezuelan people coming into the country. I expect to see some more blurring of the lines down the road, but that's a different video. Anyway, so, he came for the parang party, and the rest of the people would soon come shortly after. Mildred, sit down and get your free ham. So parang music here is very much rooted in African, indigenous, and Spanish heritage. It has that deep connection for so many of us here in Trinidad and Venezuela. In Trinidad, you typically hear people who play parang tend to come from areas known as Paramin, that's up in the hills, or you go Arima, which is further east, or you go Lopino, which is on the way there. You think about those groups of people who are very much involved in the culture. Those are like the hubs of it here locally in Trinidad. But it has spread throughout the island and is actually part of our general Christmas music. So, when you listen to the music and you hear it on the radio, you feel very much connected to it. And in the case of this particular song, Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham, it's something a little bit more because it's actually a soca song that has a parang influence. So it's what's called soca parang. You have parang soca, which is parang music that has a soca twist, or you have soca parang, which is soca music, which has a parang twist. So this is an example of soca parang. For those who don't know, soca music is actually indigenous to Trinidad and Tobago. It comes from Trinidad and Tobago. It was created here in the 1970s by Lord Shorty, aka Rash Shorty. I hear now, I'm giving all their whole history. Nobody in asked this, Take it as a free Christmas present. You understand? Take it as a free gift, a little piece of information. But soca comes from Trinidad, and so does parang, soca parang. And parang itself comes from Venezuela. So what made the video for Neighbour, Bring Out the Ham for me so special? Other than the fact me and Granny used to catch real kicks, like really laugh at everything we saw on the screen. It was also the fact that it was the first time I actually saw a drag queen. And it was the first time that I saw masculine otherness being accepted here in Trinidad and Tobago. Watching this video and seeing Mildred partying and singing in makeup and everything, eating ham and getting her life and enjoying everything, and nobody's batting an eye. Nobody looks at her like she's odd or different. Everybody accepts her or him, whatever the preferred pronoun is, accepts her into the circle. I'll just say him because I'm assuming it's a drag queen. If not, well, forgive me. And seeing that otherness so accepted into the culture, into the space with men, with women, and everybody just accepting this person who would otherwise be labeled as other. Seeing that person, Mildred, accepted into the group, that was very special for me because growing up in Trinidad, I experienced Trinidad as a very homophobic place, often very violently. So it's not always something where you see masculine otherness as being accepted. And you see homophobia, we have to really have a quick conversation here about homophobia because homophobia it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous and it's very insidious in how it manifests itself many times because homophobia doesn't just target LGBTQ people. It doesn't just target gay men. Homophobia polices that gender line between what is accepted as masculine, as acceptable masculine behavior, normative behavior, heteronormative behavior, and what is rejected, marginalized, and demonized and considered to be the other. And you see, often that is done violently. And I hear it in the music growing up. I would hear it amongst other boys my age. I would hear it from adults. I would hear it from people younger than me. It's something that is very much ingrained in the culture. And even though we've come a long way since 1992 when this song was a big hit, it's still very much there, although not as prominent. So what this video showed me was that there was hope. There's somebody who was considered in any other context would be considered the other. Somebody who didn't line up with what society says is normal or acceptable. Somebody who would otherwise be attacked for that type of gender expression. But seeing Mildred, a man in drag, as far as I know, a man in drag performing in this role and being so happily acknowledged and eating ham and singing and dancing with everybody, even for that short period of time, it let me know, even as a little boy, that everything in this country was not to be there was hope. There was a space somewhere, a context somewhere in which people can be accepted. And you know, we have to touch on this very quickly because we have drag performers here in Trinidad and Tobago. Many of them on Instagram. There are even a couple you see on television. There are people that you see in drag, or even people who may bend the gender lines in many ways, who go beyond what is normally considered accepted as normal. And you see people being accepted into the culture, but it's often conditional. We accept you if you're funny. We accept you if you perform a role, but you can't stay in that role forever. You could put on that dress when you're doing this comedic sketch, but if you walk down the street on a regular day dressed like that and you're not performing, we will reject and punish you. I don't do it. But members of this society, there are people who violently do it. And I think there's so much room for growth. But thinking back that in 1992, we had something like this on television, and it's still celebrated as one of the most beloved Christmas songs, and a video that people by the millions have watched on YouTube and have expressed such great love and adoration for. It shows that there really is hope for growth in this country. So that was my little Christmas story. I'll give you more. I have plenty others, but I don't want to weigh it on. I know we already have pandemic fatigue, and I don't want to hit it with Christmas fatigue. So that was just my little tale. But what I would like to know from you is, what is your favorite Christmas song? Leave a comment below and let me know. Now we have one last little jam for the Christmas now, a little parang in the comment section. Tell me your favorite Christmas song. You could give me one, you could give me two, you could give me three, give me a whole playlist. Let me know and I go check them out. And hopefully you go and check out this song, Neighbour Bring Out the Ham, and join the conversation in the comment section. Anyway, all you don't know this, but I'm plenty sweating. I'm in pajama pants. I'm looking fancy on top, but I'm in my house below. Anyway, we go talk next time. Later.